I'm gonna be like the cool YouTubers and say folks. Folks, welcome back to another video. My name is Matt with RTCG. I've got my Pokemon mug here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How was that intro? Did the folks go well? I can't do the folks like Rudy does. I can't do it like Nostalgianomics does. Those guys are epic. But thank you so much for bearing with me through that. So today I've got a really exciting video. I'm going to tell you the premise of it and then we're going to dive into it. So the whole purpose of today's video is to look at what magic products are the best to buy if you are ripping and selling singles, if you're a business looking to flip products. What are the products that you want to be looking into? Before we jump into that, I want to give a special shout out to our stream, the stream that I run on Fridays and Saturdays. I multi-stream to YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. All four of those platforms have amazing people that watch, but this past weekend we had a lot of great conversations just about the business side of things. We also ripped some packs. It is a rip and ship, but it's also just a hangout time and conversation time. And I love all the questions we get. And the next videos for this week, the ones that are coming up, kind of all came from questions and conversations we had during the stream. And I kind of thought to myself, you know what? These conversations and these topics are so good that they're worthy of a full-length video. So that's where this is coming from. Somebody had an amazing question about magic products, what products that they should be looking at if they're looking to mass rip boxes and different things like that. And so I'm going to give you my answer from my experience, my perspective. Now understand, I kind of mentioned this on the streams, every one of us has a different starting point, and that's perfectly fine. This whole concept of like, we're in competition with the person to the left or right of us in business is such a fallacy. There are certain types of businesses, especially locally, if you are like actually doing business as a brick and mortar. You may be a t-shirt shop, and 2 streets down there may be another t-shirt shop, and you guys are directly competing in the same marketplace. But we're talking about TCGs here. If you're selling on TCG Player, there are hundreds of thousands, probably millions of purchases happening every single month, and I'm probably undershooting it by a ton, y'all. Like, a million just sounded like a good big number, but the truth is it's probably way more than that if I had to guess. So when this whole concept of competition or comparison is kind of silly, okay? I'm RTCG, right? I sell on TCG Player, I run a rip and ship, and I sell some steel Japanese product on my own website. But the idea that, you know, RAR TCG is in competition with Flamingo TCG is just not true, because Flamingo TCG, first of all, may specialize in a totally different kind of vertical of the hobby. Maybe they sell just graded cards, or maybe they do this exact same thing as me, but I started with a capital of like $1,000 to $2,000, and maybe Flamingo TCG started with a capital of $100,000 for whatever reason. Those are not even playing fields, and the playing field, first of all, is not meant to be even, okay? In life, I think you have to come to grips with the fact that things aren't fair. And that's perfectly okay. What really matters isn't that things are fair or they are perceived to be fair. What matters is that you look at your situation and you think to yourself, hey, I have a dream. I have A, B, or C dream. How am I going to utilize what I have to get me closer to that dream becoming reality, okay? Because as long as a dream is a dream, it'll never reach reality. To make it a reality, you have to cast a vision, okay? You have to set a goalpost, and then you have to work hard to lay the foundation, the road, so that you can drive or walk or run or fly to that destination. But all of us have different starting points. I just think that's important to mention in this video. And I think the Flamingo TCG kind of metaphor example works really well to illustrate what I'm thinking here. and it's going to apply throughout the rest of the video. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. What magic products should you be buying? And you're like, wow, we're at 5 minutes and we're finally to the topic. That is kind of my vibe, okay? I always like to come out the gate strong, let you know what we're going to be talking about, and I'll probably have some connecting, the intro, what we're talking about, my intro, and then some connecting like deeper thought or idea, and then we're diving into the content, okay? So here's the deal. There are 3 main products that I like to buy whenever it comes to magic. Those 3 products, and this is from a reseller / business perspective. I'm not a brick and mortar, okay? I'm not selling sealed magic at this point. I hope to do that in the future, but right now I'm selling singles on TCG Player as my primary source, like revenue generating source for Magic the Gathering. Just a side note here, Magic's amazing, okay? I come from a more Pokemon background. I love Pokemon, playing the game is awesome, but Magic, man, Magic fans are stinking awesome. The game, I like the game more than Pokemon. I'm just gonna say it, I'm gonna stand strong on my thoughts and feelings here. I like the game more. I think the game having multiple different formats, whether you're a commander player, just a standard player, or you play Pauper, there's just so many avenues for someone to dive into Magic and have a great time. And I think that's stinking awesome. Pokemon will always be kind of the foundation of what I do, and kind of like my true, like where my heart is. But from a I admire Magic, okay? Again, I got sidetracked. So here are the 3 different products I like to buy. Number 1 is collections, okay? This is probably the most obvious one. The other 2 products I'm gonna be talking about are actual products. They're sealed, they're ones that I like to rip, open, and sell the singles from. And I know that may excite you, but let's talk about collections real fast because I think it's super important. As a reseller, if you're just trying to start your TCG business, buying and selling collections is like part of your everyday, okay? You may be looking at a bulk Magic collection. You may be looking at a legit like collection or decks that someone used. And these are all amazing ways to go about acquiring products. And the way to do that is just look, I always recommend buying locally, unless you build yourself up online. Kind of like what we're seeing here, like you put your face out there, you start an Instagram, TikTok, a YouTube, you put yourself out there, create this, start building a brand recognition, and then you'll notice that some people will reach out to you and they'll be like, hey man, I like your vibes. I'm trying, I'm in this place in life where I'm ready to move, offload some of my collection. Would you be interested? I'm gonna be selling this, but before I list it on Facebook Marketplace, I wanted to come to you first. That's a real thing that happens to me, and I'm a really small content creator, but I've had really amazing bulk buys for Pokemon because of that exact thing. So do not discount the power of just having social media presence. I think that if you're trying to do this online business thing, social media, if you're willing to put yourself out there, is 100% worth it. But I do think that people are also extremely successful if you have the capital and you have the connections to acquire product regularly and effectively. You may not need it, okay? You can just be in the background, a little shadow in the back, just grinding, just making that money, okay? I think that's possible too. So anyways, different paths, right? Everyone has different starting points. Everyone's going to take a different path to their dream and their destination, and that's perfectly okay. Like I talked about at the beginning, we're closing the loops. We're looping, we're connecting. It's amazing, okay? So that's collections. I always recommend that you buy in person, locally if you can, build up your presence online, buy from people that you trust online. And whenever you go, someone, presents a collection, you see it on Facebook Marketplace, it's okay to negotiate. I just always say negotiate respectfully. Okay, it's okay to give counters and go back and forth, but listen, that person you're buying from is letting go of part of their collection. They probably opened packs or invested a lot of money to get those cards in their deck, and it means a lot to them that maybe it's going to someone that's going to respect those cards. I think people are perfectly okay letting their collections go to a reseller, but it means something when that reseller comes to them and says, hey, like, I know these cards mean a ton to you. And like, listen, my offer is going to be at 70% of market because I'm a reseller. I need to resell it, but I want you to know that these cards are going to be in safe hands, and we're going to make sure they go to other collectors and players that are going to value them just as much as you did. Like that, just that little statement means so much. And you got to genuinely mean it, obviously. You can't just like throw that out there. But I think so I was a pastor, okay? I was a pastor in a college town. We were a church plant, and I led our band. I did a lot of other things too. But one of the things I did is I got to help lead the band alongside some other staff. And we would have people just volunteer their time to come play bass, drums, lead guitar, sing, all that kind of stuff. But I got connected with probably one of my favorite just people I've interacted with. It was one of the professors at the university, an amazing professional bass guitar player. I mean, absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. And this guy, just talking to him, meeting him for coffee, getting to know him, he just at one point he just saw me and said, hey Matt, like, I don't know if you know this, but people have a built-in BS meter. And he said the real word, okay? And just like, I don't just like, cussing doesn't offend me. I just personally don't do it. It's just not genuine for me. And so if I were to start cussing and everything, like if you knew me, you'd just laugh at me, okay? I just don't do that. But we're sipping coffee at the local coffee shop, and he goes, everyone has a built-in BS meter. And my eyes perk up and I'm excited, okay? I'm excited because this guy who's seen so much of the music industry, seen so much of the world, interacting with all these people, like he's dropping gold. It's true. People can smell it, man. And it doesn't smell good, right? BS would not smell good. I think that's so true. If you're not genuine, if you don't care about the person in front of you, but you're trying to pretend, that's going to come off a certain way, and it may turn people off and close doors that you may not even realize it does. So I just really encourage you, negotiate respectfully, care about the person in front of you. So that's number one, is collections. Buy collections. I recommend buying anywhere between 60 to 70%, depending on the market. Like let's say Pokemon, even finding deals at 70% for collections is going to be difficult. I know it's possible because I've still done it, but I think people are going to be closer to that 75% mark. And there's still a little bit of margin there to make some money, but you have to weigh the pros and cons of buying at 75% and being able to offload that and still make money. So that's collections for Magic. The second thing, and just so you know, for Magic, I think that, my firm belief with bulk is like all cards sell. So even if you have a card valued at one penny, there's a buyer out there for it. And you see it on TCG Player with the different graphs and the sell-through rates and everything. And I personally use a floor price of around 15 to 18 cents, depending on what I'm selling. And so like when I sell a 1 penny card for 18 cents, that's pretty lit. That's pretty awesome. But what really matters in Magic are the playable cards, because Magic is a player's game. So when you're looking at collections, that's one thing to keep in mind. Not all Magic cards are created equally. Some Magic cards, even if they're just an uncommon, a common, maybe a rare, not even the highest rarity, mythics, like those cards could be worth more than mythics, okay? You may see an uncommon card go for like $6, and it's all because it's really competitive in Commander or Standard, okay? So just keep that in mind, and it really would benefit you to play the game and just start learning about what makes Magic what it is. Let's go to the next product. And these last two are actually going to be products. And I'm going to kind of talk about this. Maybe this last half of the video will go a little bit faster. We've covered a lot of stuff. I hope you've gotten some value from it. But here's the last two products: Commander decks and play boxes. Now you may be saying, Matt, why are you not throwing collectors boxes and packs in there? Well, there's one really important reason for that. Come in closer. It's because I don't have the money for it, okay? I'm gonna be honest to who I am, my experience, and what I personally do. So I'm not gonna talk about things that I'm not personally spending my money on, selling. Listen, I think collector decks are absolutely amazing. Not collector decks, but collector boxes and packs. I mean, you saw it with Final Fantasy, right? I mean, everyone's talking about Final Fantasy. But when Final Fantasy collector boxes came out, I'm getting my words mixed up a little bit in my head. When those boxes came out, you could pick them up for like $600 to $700. That to me is astronomical. Okay, like when I can deploy $700, I can buy a whole collection. I can buy multiple boxes or like commander decks. I can do a lot with $700 for my business, and to deploy $700 for one box that I am new to Magic. I'm not sure what it's going to do. Is it going to go up or down? That to me was too much of a risk, because that money was too much of my working. It was too much of a percentage of my working capital. Okay. For you, as I said at the beginning, not all of us start at the same place. If you are working with, if you have a working capital of $100,000 per month or $10,000 per month, then deploying something like $3,000 on some collector boxes for Final Fantasy at $650 to $700 a pop, that may seem a lot more fun to you, and that may not be a huge portion of your working capital for the month, right? Like you may have that just stashed away and you're like, hey, this looks like a fun speculation. Or you may be like, I feel really strongly about this. And guess what? Hindsight's 2020 with Final Fantasy. Those boxes are upwards of like $1,200, $1,300. You just made bank. You are a genius. Like hindsight is always 2020. Everyone in hindsight looks like the victor. Everyone looks like a genius. But for me, I'm perfectly okay missing out on some Final Fantasy collector boxes, because I put that $700 to work in different ways to also generate profit for me, which was reasonable. I wasn't betting the whole business on one play for like 5 collector boxes. I was diversifying my plays and Pokemon and Magic for the stream, for the website, and I worked all those different angles to then generate more working capital. I think at one point in the future, I will do things with collector boxes, but that's not right now for me. And maybe it will be a year from now. Follow along, hit that sub button. I forgot to tell you guys to like and subscribe. If you guys made it this far, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. The channel's growing like crazy. So I just went on a little rant about collector's boxes, but let's talk about the 2 lines of products that I really love buying. That's commander decks and play boxes. Now, there's a big caveat to this, because it all depends on where and how much you're buying these products for. Your buy price in business is literally everything, okay? Literally everything. And what I mean by that is the most important thing. So if you can buy, let's use Alpha Investments for an example. If you can buy Outlaws of Thunder Junction at like the 118 price, and you can buy like, let's say like 10, 20, 30 boxes at that locked in low price, you are sitting really, really nice to be able to do a mass opening and turn a profit. Same is true for commander decks as well. If you can find a wholesale program, if you can find access to product at a reasonable wholesale price, close to distributor price, significantly under market, we're talking 60-70% of market, you are looking at a very, very great opportunity to break that product down and sell singles, okay? Selling singles is a grind. You have to be able to jump in, fulfill orders, but I'm assuming that a lot of people watching this kind of have an idea of that. Maybe you watch some other YouTubers, you watch some other content creators, and you've already kind of thought to yourself, like, if I jump into this, if I'm gonna actually jump in and start a business, start selling, that's what I'm committing. That's what I'm signing up for, is I'm signing up for the work, okay? This whole idea of selling cards, it is fun, especially when you tie like videos to it. I know some people probably would hate the idea of, you know, I'm staring at myself right now recording this video into my phone. Some of you may hate that idea, but for me, this is really fun. It's fun because I get to connect with all of you, and we get to talk about fun topics. So that's the big drop here, okay? By buying sealed Magic products, breaking them down and selling singles works. You can make money doing it, but you cannot run to GameStop and buy all of the Final Fantasy play boxes they have available for $200 or whatever they're selling them at right now. You can, first of all, they probably don't have any play boxes because they're sold out. But you can't run to GameStop or your LGS and buy all of their commander decks and then cross your fingers and hope that you turn a profit. That's not how it works, okay? How it works is that you create connections, you find access to different distribution programs and stuff like that, to where you can buy in and kind of subscribe to things that will give you opportunities over time. And then as you continue to buy products, rip them, sell the singles, all that good stuff, over time, you continue to generate revenue. You roll over profits, generate more revenue, and then you start to have more and more money to play with. I shared this on the stream. This could be a whole separate video, and I bet it will be. It's about not overextending yourself in business. It's okay to acknowledge where you're at right now and understand that where you're at right now is not where you want to be, okay? So when I first got started selling, this is going to be a whole video. I'll just go through this real fast to make this point. When I first got started selling, I have a family. I'm a dad. Like, the idea was not for me to start this business and risk my, what do they call it? Leverage my home to start a business. The idea was to start a business and see if this is something I enjoyed and something I could see myself doing for the extended future, okay? And so that's what I started doing. I did not deploy a lot of capital. I bought 15,000 Pokemon cards for about $80. If you watch my shorts, a lot of my shorts start that way, and that's intentional because that's where I got started. And then from there, over time, I've reinvested and rolled over my profits, and I've been able to grow from bulk to what I like to say boxes, from bulk to boxes. I like that saying. I'll do something more with that in the future. But I literally went from selling bulk singles of Pokemon to then being able to acquire bulk Japanese sealed boxes to start a website with and to start a stream with. And I think that anyone can do that, okay? Anyone that has the determination, vision, and persistence can do that. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching. This video turned out to be a little bit longer than I was thinking it would be. I hope that's okay. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, the channel's grown like crazy, and thank y'all so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it, y'all. And I'll see you for the next one really soon. As I said, I got some other video ideas to talk about this week from the stream. I'll see you guys. Peace.